If you're on a date and you forget the name of the girl, go to Starbucks and buy her a coffee. When they hand out the drink, they'll call her name out loud and you won't look ridiculous. If you touch a cactus and your hand gets full of spine, apply white glue all over your hand and wait for it to dry. That way you can peel off the glue and remove all the cactus spine. If you're about to sign a contract but there's a small smudge on the paper, don't sign it. It could be the fine print with ridiculous condition. If you go to the doctor and notice he's typing while you're talking, be careful and look at his screen. He's Googling what you're saying because he has no idea what's wrong with you.
Foods that were invented by accident. In the 20th century, a 16-year-old boy worked at his father's restaurant, and one day he left a burger on the grill for too long, and it burned. To try to fix it, he put a piece of cheese on top, and that's how the first cheeseburger was born. Now, chocolate chip cookies. A woman was making chocolate-flavored cookies for her son when she ran out of cocoa powder, so she improvised and added pieces of chocolate into the dough, thinking they would melt. But they didn't melt, and they turned out perfect. People who can eat the same thing every day. In 2019, a man ate a yogurt that had expired about 6 months ago, and he liked it so much that he decided to eat only expired things for a year. The strangest thing is that he survived. Bear Scott has only been eating potato chips for 26 years. At every meal, on average, he eats about 6,000 bags of chips a year, and he says he feels sick just thinking about eating anything else. Finally, Kurt Gödel was so afraid of being poisoned that he only ate what his wife cooked. But one day she got sick and had to go to the hospital for several months, so he decided not to eat during that whole time, and he died of starvation. Where did colors come from? The color orange got its name from the fruit and not the other way around. 5,000 years ago, Egyptians started to call the precious stone blue, and the name was used for things of that color. 1,000 years ago in Japan, green and blue were called the same. Oh, they still confuse it today. That's why traffic lights in Japan are red, yellow, and blue. Purple was the first color created synthetically. A chemist created it by accident while mixing medicines. Pink was named after the flower, and only rich women used it in the 17th century. It was created by diluting the red of other pigments, and people only considered it a light red. The world's strangest allergies. First, a girl with an allergy to water. Her condition stops her from getting into a pool, sweating, crying, or even showering without having a very strong reaction in her body. Second, a boy allergic to the sun. This kid can't go to the beach or go outside without feeling like his skin is burning. He can only wait until nightfall in order to go out and play. Third, an allergy to money. In 2010, a woman went shopping and came back with her whole body covered in itchy rashes. When she got home, she found that she was allergic to the ink used in paper bills, so now she only uses her credit card. Finally, a dog was rescued from the street, but it was losing a lot of fur and its skin was irritated. Then its allergy was discovered. It was allergic to human contact. Your poor friend's parents invite you to sleep over at their house. Do this so you don't look ridiculous. Hide your iPhone 19 before get in. Say hello to the whole family. Don't take pictures of the house or ask why their car has no wheels. And be careful. If you notice a bad smell, don't say nothing. The family could get upset. At dinner, don't ask for seconds even if they offer. You might be taking food away from another family member. On the other hand, you might be surprised that the bathroom is outside. Remember that they may not have toilet paper, so bring extra socks and don't touch anything else besides the door. Finally, never open the windows after midnight. It's very likely that a thief could break in and steal everything, leaving the family in ruins.
How to know if someone's cheating on you. Ask for her phone to use the calculator. If all the apps on the phone are locked, it means she has deleted the evidence. If she didn't exercise before and now goes to the gym every day, it means she wants to look better for someone else. On the other hand, if you suspect a friend is covering for them, tell the friend you already know everything. They will tell you what she was hiding. If she gets mad at you but is very happy the next morning, it means she sneaked out at night to see her lover. Finally, if you're going to confront her, become friends with her lover and tell them how terrible she is. That way, she'll be alone without you or her lover, and you will have a new friend.
If you are in a dangerous bathroom and need to poop, always leave one foot out of your pants. If someone tries to attack you, you'll be able to stand up and defend yourself against the thief. If you are going to declare your love in a public place, do not choose your favorite restaurant. If they reject you, you will look ridiculous and you will never want to go back there. If you are at a dinner and choke while eating, don't try to leave the table silently to avoid embarrassment. A lot of people die because they don't ask for help. It's better to just make the universal sign that you are choking. If you are going to travel by plane, always take a picture of your suitcase before takeoff. If the suitcase gets damaged along the way, you will have proof and they will give you a new suitcase.
The parents of your poor friend invite you to dinner at their house. Do this so you don't look ridiculous. Put on basic clothes, put away your fancy items, and hide your iPhone so it doesn't get robbed before you arrive. If the house is in bad shape, don't say anything. It is very likely they don't have money to repair it. One more thing, don't make any complaints about the food. You have to eat all of it, even if you don't like it. Make an effort to be part of the conversations, but don't try to make jokes about money or mention the new sports car that your dad bought last week. If they make noise while eating, just let it go. But above all else, don't dare to ask why there is no dessert, because it might hurt their feelings. Finally, when you're all done with your food, help by cleaning the table, to wash the dishes, and subscribe to Big Dan Baby.
If you're at your rich friend's house and break something, don't try to hide it. They have security cameras all over the house and they'll catch you. If you're at the beach and bury your whole body in the sand, don't even think about doing it near the water. If the tide comes in, you'll drown. If you're not home and need to charge your phone, don't use public USB outlet. It's a trick that hackers use to steal your information. If you're alone in a movie theater and a stranger sits right next to you for no reason, pretend you're getting a phone call and change seats. They are most likely a child kidnapper.
You suddenly travel back in time to ancient Rome. Do this to survive. First, if you try to live a normal life, everyone will realize you don't speak Latin and don't know how to behave like them. They would think you are crazy and would want to burn you at the stake. So you will choose someone from the crowd and challenge him to a duel to the death in the Colosseum. One day before the duel, you will grab a few ingredients and make a favorite food recipe. Easy, but extremely tasty for that time. When the time comes, you take out the dish and offer it to your rival. Since he will love the food, he will offer it to the boss. In this way, the Caesar will spare your life and you will be the new Caesar.
How to spot a fake friend. Make a small, unimportant mistake in front of your friend. The imposter in the group will try to humiliate you in front of others. If you're suspicious of a friend, ask them for a very simple favor. It's very likely they'll come up with a cheap excuse that's easy to check. On the other hand, if a friend laughs at you in front of people you don't know, they're just trying to gain social approval without caring about your feelings. Lastly, if your friends make plans but always forget to include you, don't ask for permission to go. Remember, it's better to be alone than in bad company. How to find out the meaning of your dreams. If you dream that you're at your own funeral, it means you're sad and want to yourself. If you drown in a dream and wake up unable to breathe, it means you've lied too much and you're about to be found out. On the other hand, if you see an animal in a dream, it represents a friend or family member. For example, if you see a snake, it means you have a fake friend. If you see a fox, it means someone is cheating on you. Lastly, if you dream that you want to scream but can't open your mouth, it means no one is listening to you and you should find other friends.
If you break a beehive, don't hide underwater. They'll wait for you to come up and sting you when you need to breathe. If a poisonous snake bites you, don't try to suck out the venom. You'll only spread it through the wound. If someone seems drunk but hasn't had any alcohol, ask them to smile. If their smile looks uneven, they're having a stroke. If you see square waves in the ocean, get away from the water. There's strong currents that can pull you under the sea.
In 2001, a 9-year-old girl named Asha grabbed her backpack and left her home during a thunderstorm. It was so early that it was still dark outside, and a mysterious driver saw her walking down the street all alone. The car turned around and tried to approach her, but Asha ran off, hiding in the woods. By dawn, Asha had vanished, leaving behind some of her belongings near a wooden shelter. Despite extensive searches and numerous leads, no trace of her was ever found. A year later, her backpack was discovered, wrapped in a plastic bag at a construction site, but it provided no clue to solving the case. No one knows why Asha left home or where she was going, making her disappearance one of the most mysterious unsolved cases in the world.
If your front door is open and there are scratch marks on the lock, lock the door completely and call the police. A group of burglars are trapped inside your house. If you travel to a European country, don't ask people where the tourist spots are. Criminals will think you're a tourist and rob you. If you find a lot of large eggs in your house, call the police. A mother snake has invaded your home. If you're lost in the desert and have nothing to eat, look for brown worms in the sand. They're high in protein and easy to find.
Why do bathrooms have a gap under the door? When you go into a bathroom at school or a restaurant, it can feel really awkward because you feel like everyone is watching you. But these gaps are there for safety reasons. You see, if you ever need medical attention, the gap lets paramedics get in and save your life. It's also used to make sure no crimes are committed inside the bathroom. And finally, if the door ever gets stuck while you're inside, as gross as it might be, you can easily escape through the gap.
If you're at a party but don't know how to dance, Wave your arms up and down and tell everyone it's the latest trendy TikTok dance. You'll stop looking ridiculous and everyone will copy you. If you're broke and you can't afford a phone, grab a piece of wood and tell everyone it's the latest eco-friendly iPhone. Everyone will think you're trendy and will try to copy you. If you're traveling through Argentina, do not say anything bad about Messi. Argentinians love Messi more than their own parents, and they'll beat you up bad. If you're ugly and don't have a girlfriend or money, take pictures with luxury cars and post them on Tinder. All the girls will want to go out with you, and you just have to pretend that your car's in the shop. If terrorists hijack your plane with bombs, don't try to be a hero to save everyone. The terrorists will get angry with you and you'll be the first to die. If you have a dog and you're traveling to China, don't take it with you. If you get distracted for a moment, they might try to cook it so they can eat it later. If you're in the desert and see a hole in the sand, don't go near it to look. It could be the home of a venomous spider, and if it bites you, you won't make the hospital. If you're swimming in the sea and see dark clouds in the distance, get out of the water even if they're really far. If lightning strikes, the electricity travels so fast through the water that you'll be burned alive. These are the 3 craziest laws in North Korea. Number 1, it's illegal to smile or laugh during the 17th of December, because that day is the anniversary of the death of North Korea's former leader. For 10 days, it is forbidden to laugh, drink alcohol, or even go shopping. If you're caught, you will most likely disappear mysteriously. Number 2, it's also forbidden to wear jeans, sunglasses, and even wedding dresses, because they believe it's a symbol of the culture of the United States. If you're caught wearing any of these, you could go to prison for over 5 years. But the worst part is, number 3, if you break the law in North Korea, your entire family will be punished for 3 generations. That means you'll go to jail, but so will your parents and grandparents. If you're in a building and about to use the elevator, don't get in if there are more than 8 people. The cables won't support the weight and you'll be crushed. If you get tied up and thrown into the sea, don't try to undo the knot with your teeth. You'll waste too much time and run out of air. First move your head to float, then untie yourself. If you're in a fire and there's smoke everywhere, cover your nose with a cloth and crawl on the ground. The clean air stays low and the toxic smoke rises. If you're on a plane that makes an emergency landing on water, don't inflate your life vest inside the plane. You could get stuck at the door and die while drowning.
If we divide the world by genders, men and women would be separated at birth, but each zone would have only one baby of the opposite gender. In the land of all men, they would soon develop a protective instinct. Everything would start to function like an anthill. All the men protect the woman with their own lives. Soon they would make the woman their queen and become her personal army. In the woman land, they would realize that the man is very strong and would force him to carry out the heaviest work. The women would fight among themselves to see who finally gets the strong man. Wars would soon arise among the women, causing the man to lose his mind. If the woman disappeared, the men would lose their sole purpose in life and would end up dying sadly. If the man suddenly disappeared, the women wouldn't be bothered at all. The women would look for another way to do the heavy work and would keep fighting among themselves until they destroyed each other. The fastest runner in the world. A runner got in a portable toilet in the middle of a marathon. He stayed inside for 2 minutes while the other runners passed by. Then someone from the staff knocked on the door and the runner came out running much faster than before. He was going so fast that he passed everyone until he reached the top 10. However, he had always been a very bad runner, which is why the press believed he was using illegal substances to win. The runner finished in 9th place. They ran blood tests on him. He came out completely clean. In the end, the trick was discovered by a journalist who returned to the portable toilet and saw the same runner still inside. They were actually twin brothers.
If you have been kidnapped by a group of terrorists, do not act like you're dead. Terrorists always inspect the bodies and they will kill you. If you meet a lot of stray cats on the street and you think of giving them food, they will think you have unlimited food and follow you back home to stay with you forever. If you wake up with your mouth covered in drool, toss your toothpaste through the window. Your toothpaste has too much fluoride and it has already burned your throat. If a beggar asks for money, speak in another language. He will believe you're just a tourist and stop attacking you.
If your ex-girlfriend is destroying your car, this is what you need to do. Try to calm her down by saying something nice. If she's really angry, use force to defend your car without hitting her or hurting her. But if she has a weapon, don't get close. Instead, record it all with your phone and call the police. If she breaks anything on your car, she'll have to pay for it. Destroying someone's property is a serious crime, and she'll have to cover all the repair costs and could even end up in jail. But what if the car was a gift from your ex? If she gave you the car but but now she's mad at you because you cheated on her, you have to check whose name is on the car's paperwork. If it's in her name, it doesn't matter that she gave it to you. She can destroy it without a problem. A woman downloaded a sleeping app on her phone thinking it would help her rest better. This app recorded her sounds while she slept, like talking or moving. But one night at 2 in the morning, it recorded some very strange noises, as if someone was searching for something in her room. So while half asleep, she whispered, "What are you doing?" And a man with a deep voice replied, "Nothing." But she was home alone with just her baby son, until she decided to move to another house and the sounds mysteriously stopped.
How to survive a zombie apocalypse. First, go to the supermarket and buy a hard baguette. Take a big bite and one of your teeth will fall out. Now, go back home and put it under your pillow. At night, the tooth fairy will come looking for it. Now, grab her with your hands and ask her for lots of running machines. She will grant your wish and place all the machines around your house. When the zombies arrive, they will start running non-stop but won't be able to get close. And that's how you can survive a zombie apocalypse.
If you collected every single tear you've ever cried, most people think that you could fill a river with your tears. But the average person only cries about half a teaspoon of tears at a time. And even if you tried to cry during an entire day, you'd only fill half a cup of tears in 24 hours. Now, a small river holds millions of liters of water, which means you'd need to cry without stopping for about 500 years to fill a river with tears.
2 children with green skin mysteriously appeared in a village in England in the 12th century. The boy and the girl spoke an entirely unknown language, and they wore very strange clothing. They were confused, and the kind villagers offered them food, but the children could only eat green beans. The boy fell ill and eventually died, but the girl survived, and little by little, she managed to learn English. She explained that they came from a green city with no sun, called the land of St. Martin. However, this place does not exist, and the mystery of the green skin was never solved.
You are selling bottles of water for $2 each, but your neighbor has set up a store next door and started selling for $1 each bottle. All the customers are only buying from him, but you need to make money. You could wait until he goes to the toilet and destroy his stand, but you could end up going to jail. You could also lower the prices to 90 cents, but each bottle of water cost you 95 cents, so you would end up losing money. Your best option is to buy all of his bottles for $1. Your neighbor closes the stand because he has no more bottles, but you raise the price to $5 each and you become a millionaire.
If you're stupid and bite your tongue while eating spicy food, run to drink lots of water. The spices burn the wound and you could lose your tongue. If you see a lot of graffiti in the same color, get out of there fast. You've entered a dangerous area controlled by a criminal gang. If a thief tries to rob you, throw your belongings as far as possible. Thieves are usually idiots and he'll forget about you. If you're gross and wet your pants while peeing, splash more water on them. People will think you just got wet while washing your hands. If you're broke and need money, grab a box with the MrBeast logo and put a rock inside it. Now, go to a large mall while a friend records you with their phone and ask if anyone wants the mystery box in exchange for $5. They'll think it's a MrBeast video and that the box has $1 million inside, but they'll only get a rock and you'll walk away with $5. If you repeat this 20 times a day, you'll earn over $5,000 a month.
If a thief breaks into your house, use a baseball bat with a sock on it to defend yourself. If the thief tries to grab the bat, you will grab the sock instead. If you're diving into someone else's pool, check the depth before jumping. It might be very shallow, and you could crack your neck. If you're walking to your car at night, keep your car keys in your hand. This will help you get in your car quicker. And if someone attacks you, you can use them as a weapon. If you're walking down the stairs, never put your hands in your pockets. If you lose your balance and fall, you won't be able to grab the handrail.
If you're driving and it's raining a lot, never drive on the white lines on the road. The paint is more slippery than the cement, and you'll lose control of your car. If you go into a bathroom for disabled people without permission, but the police see you, drop to the floor and drool while you talk. They'll think you're disabled and they'll leave you alone. If you're being bullied at school, do not tell the teacher. Everyone will say you're a snitch, and they'll beat you up much harder. If you want to jump from a high place at the beach, don't jump in the water without checking the sea floor. There could be hidden rocks and you'll break your bones. If you ever get kidnapped and the kidnappers ask you to speak on the phone with your family so they know you're alive, do not talk and pretend to be dead. If your family can't confirm you're alive, they won't pay the ransom and the kidnappers will let you go. If you're broke and go out to dinner with your friends, suggest playing a game where the waiter randomly chooses who has to pay for everything. If you pay the waiter $1 beforehand so he doesn't choose you, you won't have to pay for your meal. If your boss is always bothering you and asks you to make him a coffee, put decaf coffee in the mug. He'll get sleepier than usual and will leave you alone. If you're broke and you don't have money to buy an alarm clock, put a bucket with ice cubes on the ceiling. When the sun comes out, the sun rays will melt the ice and the water will wake you up. The parasite enters through the gills and grabs onto the fish's tongue with very sharp claws. Then it cuts off the blood vessels of the tongue, blocking blood flow and causing it to die and fall off. With no tongue left, the parasite hooks its body onto the remaining stump, becoming the fish's new tongue. As the fish eats, the parasite steals part of its food, and this little guy will stay living inside the fish, acting as its tongue until death. How to always win at chess. Never choose to play with the black pieces. White always has a 10% advantage just by making the first move. If your opponent is about to checkmate you, tell them something interesting. When it's their turn, they'll be distracted by the conversation, and you can draw the game by stalemating your king. On the other hand, start the game by moving your pawn to e4. You'll kill two birds with one stone by opening your queen and bishop, while also controlling the center with your pawn. Finally, never move your queen close to the king without checking all your opponent's pieces. If you get checked and your queen is in the middle, it'll be checkmate for the queen.
You're going back home, but a homeless person tries to attack you. Do this to be able to trick him. When you cross paths with the homeless person, analyze his movements. He's probably drunk and you can escape easily. On the other hand, if he takes a rat out of his pocket, don't look disgusted. If he notices, he will order the rat to bite you. But what happens if he starts screaming at you for no reason? Take a sandwich from your backpack and throw it far away. There's a good chance he's very hungry and will go after the food. When he leaves, run without looking back and go into the closest store. Stay there for a few minutes. The homeless person will return, but after not seeing you, he will end up leaving. Now run home, tell your mom, and subscribe to Big Dan Baby.
Inside the assassin's teapot, there are two chambers. One is filled with tea, and the other is filled with poison. If you cover the hole over the poison chamber, you'll block the airflow, preventing the poison from coming out, and only the tea will pour into the teapot. If you cover the hole over the tea chamber, only the poison will be able to pour into your enemy's cup. If you cover both holes, no liquid will come out of the teapot, and if you don't cover any hole, both liquids will mix as they pour out. In 1970, a doctor cut off a monkey's head and replaced it with another, meticulously connecting the neck tissues to the new head. The monkey survived, regained consciousness, and could see and hear, but the spinal cord couldn't be properly connected, making the monkey completely unable to move its body. And although the operation was technically a success, the monkey only managed to live for a few days.
A woman climbed a giant tree to protect it from a group of loggers who were planning to cut it down. At first, most people thought she would come down after a few days, but days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, and she still refused to leave. She lived on two small platforms and used ropes to receive food. Despite harsh weather, rainfall, and even threats from the loggers, the woman kept living in the tree. Finally, after 738 long days, the loggers agreed to protect the tree and the entire forest, and the woman came down at last.
The soldiers were preparing for a big battle. They had orders to shoot any intruder nearby. The attackers had a plan to attack Area 51 from several strategic points, dividing the people into groups. Their leader had gathered 3 million nerds by simply posting a selfie on Facebook with the goal of entering the military base and meeting the aliens. Even the government paid millions of dollars on defenses by placing turrets and traps all around the base. But on the night of the attack, just 150 people showed up at the base, only to fool around and take selfies with the military personnel. Their leader never showed up. He was a coward and went to sell t-shirts at a music festival far away from there.
A town in the United States started to notice a strange smell in the 1970s. The water had a bitter taste and people started getting sick. But what they didn't know was that their homes had been built on top of a toxic waste dump. Decades before the town was built, 20,000 tons of chemical waste had been buried underground by a nuclear laboratory. When construction of the town began, the waste started seeping into basements, gardens, and the water supply. The disaster led to the urgent evacuation of the entire neighborhood, and many families suffered long-term health effects. If you're lost in the forest, follow these 5 rules to survive. First, don't move. The rescue team will only search where you were seen before disappearing, not where you might have gone. Second, find water. You can survive 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. But before drinking it, you need to filter it. Fold your shirt 4 times and pour the water through it. This helps remove dirt, bugs, and bacteria. Third, signal SOS. Make 3 signals of anything repeatedly. 3 flashlight flashes, 3 loud whistles, or even 3 fires. Fourth, build a shelter. Use branches, rocks, and bushes. Gather everything and make sure the roof won't collapse. Lastly, make a fire. Rub a stick fast against dry leaves on top of a log. When smoke appears, blow on it while still rubbing. Fire will help you stay warm, boil water, and especially catch the attention of rescuers. If you pluck a hair from your head, it could hold around 40 coins without breaking. But if you braid half of all of your hair into a rope, it would have the strength to hold the weight of a truck. And if you used all of your hair to make a rope, it could support around 15 tons, which is about the weight of a young blue whale. If you're at a very sad funeral, don't try to cheer people up by making a joke. You won't be funny and you'll only make the situation worse. If you're at the movies and the person behind you starts kicking your seat, don't start a fight in the middle of the movie. Instead, ask to switch seats with the one behind them and do the same to them. If you're going to walk your dog on a hot sunny day, touch the ground with your hand for 10 seconds. If your hand burns, your dog will also suffer burns throughout the whole walk. If you're going to scare your friend, never do it in a public place. You could scare the wrong person and get into trouble.
If you're lost while in the mountains, look for some plants and take cover in a cave. If you make a fire, you won't freeze to death during the night. If you go to school in a dangerous neighborhood, put your backpack inside your t-shirt. The thieves will think you're really fat and will not rob you. If you're an idiot and you're vegan, don't go to a barbecue with your friends. You won't eat anything and they will laugh at you. If you're alone and super thirsty but you find dirty water, search and grab a lot of bamboo sticks. If you filter the water through the hole in the rods, you'll get clean and drinking water.
Unethical ways to make money. Go to the nearest university and put on some headphones, but make sure they're not connected to your phone. Now, go to the library, open Spotify and play an anime song while you walk through the library. Since the headphones aren't connected, everyone will get annoyed and ask you to turn off the music. But by then, you'll already be surrounded by girls with colored hair, in love with you because you listen to anime. Now, invite the prettiest one to your house to watch a Marvel movie. But since she's not into superheroes, she'll fall asleep, and you'll take the chance to take off her shoes, take some pictures of her feet, and sell them on OnlyFans. Weirdos on the internet pay up to $1,000 for feet, and you'll become a millionaire.
If your neighborhood isn't safe because of kidnappings, always hold your keys in your hand. They'll be like a brass knuckle, and you will do double damage. If you have an accident and break your hands, scream at the top of your lungs, ambulance, 911, to get your phone to dial for assistance. Don't forget to check the back seats of your car before you start the engine. Criminals often stay hidden behind so they can kidnap you without warning. If you're lost in the open sea, float on your back and use your watch to reflect light. The ships will see the flashing light and come to rescue you.
If you fire a gun at another gun and the bullets manage to collide mid-air, they will probably shatter into 1,000 pieces due to the high-speed impact. But in some cases, if the bullets are made from the same material and the right conditions and angle happen, the intense heat and pressure from the impact could cause the bullets to fuse together into a single piece of metal. If your nose starts bleeding right before a date, don't put water on your nose. You'll stop bleeding for about 5 minutes, but the blood will build up inside your nose and you'll look ridiculous. If you have a bad toothache, rub ice on the back of your hand. The cold will trick your brain and it will forget about the tooth pain. If you fall into quicksand, don't make sudden movements. Instead, lean back and you'll end up floating to the surface. If you want to cool a drink really fast, wrap it in a wet cloth and put it in the freezer. 5 minutes later, it'll be ice cold. A man slid down the inside of a pipe after climbing to the top of a water slide in the dark, but it was too narrow for his body to move, and he got trapped inside. He screamed for help until he was finally heard by a man. The rescue team worked for hours to take apart the water slide and be able to save his life, but the man had suffocated a few hours earlier and died.
Foods that were invented by accident. First, donuts. In the 17th century, a boy's mother wanted to make sweet bread, but she was in a big hurry. Because of that, when cooking them, the dough in the center remained raw, and she decided to cut out the middle. Unintentionally, she created the donut, now condensed milk. 100 years ago, during a war, a scientist saw that the milk the soldiers drank spoiled very quickly due to the heat. While testing a method to make the milk last longer, he reached a result that the soldiers loved. Afterward, it started being sold in stores.
If you're trapped in the trunk of a vehicle, immediately start searching for the fluorescent emergency hatch. If you don't see the latch, don't panic. Trunks don't seal off the air completely, so there's absolutely no danger of suffocation. Try feeling around the edges of the trunk for other handles to release the back seats of the car. As a last resort, try to kick out one of the brake lights. This small opening will give you a chance to signal for help.
You hang out with your friends, but no one pays attention to you. Do this to become the group leader. Try to be the first to take action if you're all bored. Put down your phone and come up with a fun plan. But there's a problem, your group already has a leader. When they try to act cool in front of everyone, secretly steal the spotlight. If they tell an interesting story, interrupt with an even better one. On the other hand, don't be afraid to draw attention to yourself. But be careful, you don't want to be the clown of the group either. Finally, a good leader is the first to help out others. Was your friend cheated on? Take him out partying so he stops crying.
Are you a psychopath? Let's put it to the test. If you answer the next question correctly, you're a psychopath. It's Christmas, and Santa brings a child 2 gifts, a soccer ball and a bicycle. The child looks at Santa and starts crying. Why? A normal person might say the child didn't like the presents, or that he wanted more gifts, but the answer a psychopath might give is, the child has no legs.
If a whirlpool sucks you down in the ocean, don't try to swim out. You'll only get tired and drown. Instead, take a breath and dive underwater. The whirlpool's force will eventually push you out. If you're cooking and your pan catches fire, do not pour water on it because it could explode. Instead, place a cloth over the pan and the fire will go out. If your face feels very itchy when you wake up, put your pillowcase in the wash. Bacteria has built up and it's eating your skin. If someone tries to rob you, tell the thief you're actually an undercover cop and that you'll let him go if he hands over his gun. If you find yourself in a room with walls closing in very slowly, most people would immediately begin to panic, but that will only waste your time and energy. Instead, look for a mechanism or button that might stop the walls. If you can't find one, use a strong object to wedge between where the walls are moving, with the objective of blocking the movement. If that doesn't work, try to climb quickly and look for a gap above the walls where you can escape the deadly force. If you're afraid of speaking in public in front of a big crowd, imagine everyone naked and wearing Mickey Mouse ears. That way, the audience will look ridiculous and you won't feel embarrassed to speak. If you go on a trip to the desert, bring an inflatable cactus and place it in the middle of the desert. When a traveler is dying of thirst, he'll try to drink from the cactus and it'll explode in his face. If you go with your friends to a haunted house, hide a speaker somewhere in the house beforehand and play scary sounds using Bluetooth from your phone. All your friends will crap their pants in fear, and they'll respect you for being brave. If you're broke and your laptop overheats very fast, grab a fan and put it in the freezer for 15 minutes. Then turn it on facing your computer so it doesn't overheat further. If you try to be funny by making a joke about bald people, don't do it in public. You might be very close to some bodybuilders who are often bald. If you receive a large inheritance, don't tell your family. All your cousins and siblings will come asking you for money. If you buy a giant TV, never throw the box in the trash. If some thieves find the box, they'll break in at night to steal your TV. If you're going to sleep in a shady hotel, turn off the lights and inspect the eyes of all the paintings. They might have hidden cameras watching you in secret. If you see a bill that's clean and wrinkle-free on the ground, don't pick it up. The bill has an invisible string and someone's pulling a prank for YouTube. If you find a USB stick on the ground, don't plug it in your computer out of curiosity. It's a trick that hackers use to steal your credit card information. If a poor child asks for help at night, don't follow him down dark alleys. He is the son of a criminal gang, and he has tricked you to rob you. If a stranger stains your clothes accidentally and offers to help clean them while apologizing, keep a close eye on their hands. It's a trick that pickpockets use to steal money. Abandoned in the cold, she crawled into a doghouse looking for warmth and ended up living there for 5 years. During that time, she learned to bark, growl, and walk on all fours, just like her canine companion. When they tried to rescue her, the girl had lost the ability to speak, and she ate like a dog. She licked herself and even breathed with her tongue out. The authorities had many difficulties rescuing her because the dogs protected her fiercely, but in the end, they distracted them using food as bait. They tried to reintegrate her into society, but she kept acting like a dog. If you show your house to your new girlfriend, don't try to hide your true passion. She might think you're a weirdo, but you might also find the love of your life. If you're sentenced to prison but the judge wants a lot of money in exchange for your freedom, don't ever pay him. It could be an honesty test to trick you into looking corrupt. If you get a fish hook stuck in your finger, don't try to pull it out by tugging it backward. Instead, push it through and past the barb with some pliers. If you have to sleep in the cold snow, look for a dead animal and sleep inside its body. Even if it's disgusting, you won't die from the cold during the night. Security cameras recorded a woman pressing all the elevator buttons while nervously glancing down the hallway. Minutes later, she vanished completely without a trace. During the next weeks, hotel guests began complaining that the water wasn't working, and when maintenance checked the water tank on the rooftop, they found the woman's body floating inside. There were no signs of trauma or violence on her body, and the police closed the case, saying she had accidentally drowned. But the water tanks were padlocked and the rooftop doors were completely locked. It was impossible for the woman to have entered alone. So why did she act so strange in the elevator? And how did she get to the rooftop to drown in the water tank?
If you're very ugly and you have a date, don't look her in the eye. She will notice how ugly you are and will reject you. If you're about to sneeze, don't think of covering your nose. The air in your lungs is so strong that it will break all your bones. If you are at a party and you feel a bite from a mosquito, run away fast and call the police. You've been injected a drug to fall asleep. If you travel to a country you don't know, never take a taxi while at the airport. They're professional scammers and will steal all your money.
Do this to make $120,000 per week. Go to a fancy restaurant at dinner time. When you arrive, start acting very rude and ask them to give you a table for 6 people right away. But since the place will be packed at dinner time, they'll tell you to wait half an hour. Meanwhile, spit on the floor, insult the waiter, and talk very loudly on the phone. Once you're seated, tell them you're not actually waiting for anyone and the table is just for you. But when the waitress explains the menu, interrupt her the whole time and only ask for a glass of water and the cheapest dish. The waitress will get so upset that she'll spit in your food. Now, you have to pull out a machine to analyze human DNA and look for traces of saliva and DNA in your food. Then, call your lawyer and sue them for $120,000. Repeat this every week and become a millionaire.
A woman on her bike was crossing a drawbridge when suddenly it started moving to open. As the gap widened, she became trapped between the sections. She clung onto a street lamp while she called for help, but the bridge kept moving. One man rushed to grab her, but couldn't hold on because he was too overweight. Finally, her hand slipped and she fell into the hole to her death. The operator of the bridge later confessed that he hadn't checked the walkway before raising the bridge. If you throw a party at your house, don't leave your belongings in plain sight. People could touch them and break them by accident. If you're at a restaurant and the food takes a long time, don't complain to the waiter every 5 minutes. He could get angry at you and add a special ingredient to your food. If you buy something expensive online, record a video while opening the package. If it arrives broken or doesn't work, you'll have proof that you didn't.
If you find yourself lost in the desert, look for dead animal corpses. If you sleep inside their body, you won't freeze to death during the night. If you have to cross a frozen river, take off your clothes. Once wet, it will weigh tons of pounds. You'll move so slow that hypothermia could kill you. If you come across a bear, don't even try to feed it. It will think you have unlimited food and will chase you until it eats you. If you're on vacation and your house is empty, don't forget to leave one light on. Criminals will believe that there are still people inside and they won't rob.
If you're a player in Squid Game, don't team up with really smart people. They'll betray you during the games and you'll die. If aliens ever invade Earth, do not try to befriend one. To the Martian visitors, you're nothing but a stupid little animal, and they'll experiment on you. If you're in the desert and find water, take off your shirt and wet it. When you're thirsty, squeeze it so you can drink the water droplets. If you're fighting in World War III, never take off your helmet. If you get shot, you'll die anyway. But if they throw a grenade, the helmet will protect you from the debris. When a snake is eating something that's very big, it has the ability to open its jaw completely because the bones in its mouth aren't directly connected to the skull. Instead, they're connected through very flexible ligament, which can stretch and move. Once the animal's head is inside its mouth, the inner muscles of the snake contract with great force, pushing the animal down into the esophagus and stomach. When a frog hops into a giant tarantula burrow, it seems like it's walking right into a trap. But before attacking, the spider touches the frog with its legs, and if the frog has the right chemical signals, it's safe. The frog helps by munching on ants that could attack the spider's eggs. In return, the tarantula becomes the frog's bodyguard, scaring off much bigger predators. This might make the frog seem like a pet, but in reality, they are just roommates that respect each other.
If your dad drank too much, find a place to hide the car keys. If he tries to drive, he'll end up dying in a crash. If you're lost in the desert and manage to find water, use a fire to make it boil. The fire will destroy all the bacteria and it will turn into drinking water. If you have a test but you didn't prepare, stay away from coffee or energy drinks. You will be awake the whole night and you'll fall asleep during the test. If you have to cross a completely frozen river, lay on the ice and move like a worm. If you sprint across the ice, it will break and you will freeze to death.
If you're in an exam but you don't know the answer, write a short message explaining that you didn't have time to study. You'll still get a 0, but the teacher won't think you're an idiot. If you have a date on the internet, never lie about your height. One day you'll meet her in person and she'll find out the truth. If you're tied up on some train track, don't waste time trying to free yourself. Instead, focus on twisting your body to fit underneath the train. If you're going to tattoo a phrase in another language, do not use Google Translate. It might mistranslate the phrase and you'll look ridiculous. If you step on a pressure release mine, theoretically, it would trigger a spring mechanism inside that pulls back the bomb's firing pin. Now, if you stay completely still and don't lift off your foot, supposedly the firing pin won't move. But if you move your foot a little, the bomb's firing pin hits a detonator, causing an explosion. This idea was made famous by war movies and wartime propaganda. But in reality, these mines don't actually operate like this, and most of them detonate as soon as any pressure is applied. If you're tied to the train tracks and a train is approaching, most people think it's impossible to survive. But as soon as the conductor sees you, he'll activate the emergency brakes. But even then, the train will need at least 1 kilometer to come to a full stop. If you can't escape, your last option would be to try to position yourself in the small empty space between the tracks and the train and pray you don't get crushed.
If you see footprints at the entrance of your house, grab a rock before going in. An assassin is waiting inside to kill you. If you notice that a thief wants to rob you, talk to any random person like they're your best friend. Criminals will only attack you if you're alone. If you're going to a job interview, don't wear designer or luxury clothes. They'll think you have a lot of money and won't hire you. If you see a lot of graffiti in the same color, get out of there as soon as possible. You're in the dangerous neighborhood of a criminal gang. If you have a date you met on Tinder, take a hidden friend with you in secret. It's very likely they're kidnappers, and if you don't come back, your friend will call the police.
If you're at home alone at night and a thief breaks in to rob you, turn off the lights. You know the inside of your house much better than the thief does. If you're completely lost in the desert, don't even think about drinking your own urine. You will only get more dehydrated. If you've been kidnapped, you can call 911 and pretend that you're ordering a pizza. The police will immediately understand and they'll come to save you. If you're at the beach and the water starts receding fast, get out of there as soon as possible. A massive tsunami is coming. If you are trapped inside a building on fire, do not use the elevator. It is very likely that it will break down during the fire and you'll get stuck inside. If you're completely lost in the desert, don't drink water from the cactuses. You'll vomit and dehydrate immediately. If you find yourself buried in an avalanche, spit as hard as possible. Your saliva will follow gravity, and if you dig in the opposite direction, you'll be able to escape. If while vomiting you see black balls like coffee beans, run to the hospital. One of your organs has exploded and you are bleeding internally. A man pulled out a small gun and aimed it at the back of Abraham Lincoln's head, but he waited until there was a lot of noise in the theater before pulling the trigger. After shooting, he jumped down, breaking his leg as he landed, but even with his wound, he got away from the theater on a horse. While he was being chased by hundreds of people, he stayed hidden for over 12 days until he was discovered and murdered on a farm.
A man shot a huge cactus several times in a desert in the United States in 1982 for no reason other than fun. But all of a sudden, the cactus started to break. And this was a saguaro cactus over 6 meters tall, weighing in at 1,000 kilos. Without warning, a huge piece of the cactus broke off and violently crashed down on the man. He was crushed instantly under the weight, causing him to die on the spot.
How to detect if your friend is in love. Fail on something clumsy but hilarious in front of your friends. Your secret love will try to laugh with you and not at you. If you suspect of a friend, say something about you. It is very likely that 1 week after that, she can still remember it easily. On the other hand, if a friend makes silly jokes on you in front of more people, she is just trying to get your attention, as she's unable to show her true and deepest feelings. Finally, if you go to a movie with your friends, secretly pay attention to her eyes during the romantic scenes. Remember that a look is worth more than 1,000 words.
If you see lots of dogs with backpacks, don't get close and run away as fast as you can. They are bomb dogs that are used by terrorists who kill police officers. If you've got a date on Tinder, bring your best friend with you in secret. It's very likely that they are kidnappers, and if you don't come back, he will call the cops. If a delivery man knocks on your door but you haven't ordered any package, don't even think about opening the door. It is a trick criminals use to rob stupid people's houses. If you are lost in the woods, quickly find a safe river to clean yourself in. Bad smells attract bears and they'll eat you.
If you're lost in the desert, look for dead leaves and plants. If you make a fire, you won't freeze to death during the night. If a few homeless people ask you for money, move your hands and make deaf sounds. Since they don't know sign language, they won't attack you. If you're in World War III, never take off your helmet. If you get shot, you'll die anyway. But if a grenade goes off, the helmet will protect you from shrapnel. If you're stranded on a desert island but you're too stupid to make a fire, catch raw fish to make sushi. First scrape off the bacteria and then eat carefully. Most beavers pause while chewing on trees to listen if the tree is about to fall on them. This beaver spent the whole day cutting down a tree, but at night he stopped, listened carefully, and walked away because he knew what was about to happen. And in the end, the tree fell exactly where he had been standing. If some gang members mess with you, kneel and apologize to them. It's better that they laugh at you than cut off your head. If your father is drunk, quickly hide his car keys. If he tries to drive, he will end up crashing and dying. If you're in Squid Game, look for stupid people to team up with. You'll be able to trick them in the challenges and survive. If you're in the desert and find water, take your shirt and soak it. When you're thirsty, you can wring it and drops of water will fall.
If you get stabbed with a really big knife, do not remove it unless it is blocking an airway passage. The knife will help you not lose a lot of blood while sealing the wound. If you are being chased by a poisonous snake, stomp the ground violently with your feet. The vibrations in the ground will make it think they are a bear's footsteps, and it'll get scared. If you're attacked by a shark, kick its eyes and nose really hard with your legs. That's their weakest spot, and you will buy time to escape. If you're completely trapped inside a mall with no electricity, look for colored crayons. They will burn easily and work as candles.
If you're walking through a crowded place, pretend you're about to throw up. Everyone will move out of your way and you'll get through easily. If the police stop you because you were speeding, say that a killer is chasing you. They'll escort you home to keep you safe and you'll avoid the ticket. If you suspect your girlfriend is cheating on you, ask her what name she'd give to her future child. That's the name of her lover and you can search for him on social media. If you want to rob a bank, have your friend dress up as a cop. When you walk out with the loot, he'll pretend to arrest you and you'll escape together. If your parents ask you to do something, do it so badly they'll never want to ask you again. They might punish you, but you won't have to do chores. If you're getting a cramp, raise your hand as hard as you can. That will get the blood flowing and the cramp will disappear. If you're studying for an important exam, chew gum while you do it. If you chew the same flavor of gum during the exam, you'll recall the answers more easily. If you're in a job interview and they ask about past work experience, buy a disposable phone and give them that number. When they call, you can speak very highly of yourself.
Types of students after leaving high school. The millionaire. He always postponed all his class exams, but then somehow he manages to make a lot of cash money just after graduating. Literally, the school was really blocking his path to success. The family man. The first thing he did after leaving school was buying a house, finding a wife, having 5 kids, and work in an office. It seems like he wanted to be 50 years old way too soon. At least his priority is building a family and not getting drugged. The deadly gangster. At school, he was the nerd of the class who reminded homework to the teacher, but just after graduating, his brain changes like magically, and now he's a deadly gangster. Although everyone laughs at him because they know who he was before, the immature. He's the loser who keeps living in his beloved high school years. He spends the day doing noise with his car while he tries to flirt with young students. Come on, you're 30 years old, not 15, the soldier. He literally just wants to go to war because these are...
A man accidentally fell into some boiling hot springs back in 2016. The water was so extremely hot that it caused him severe third-degree burns. But the water also contained a strong acid that immediately started to melt his skin. Within 5 minutes, the intense heat left the man very confused, and when help found him, they had to leave him for dead. Because the water was so hot, it was impossible to rescue him, so they left his body and waited for the water to cool down. As time passed, the acid and extreme heat eventually dissolved his body completely, leaving behind the only evidence, his wallet and shoes.
If you're lost underwater and don't know where the surface is, release a bit of air and follow the bubble. They'll rise and guide you to the surface. If you're about to sleep, keep your car keys near your bed. If a thief breaks into your home, press your car alarm and they'll run away. If you're trapped in a car, remove the headrest and use the metal rods to break the corner of the window. That's the weakest part and you'll break it. If a thief breaks into your home, start telling them your sad life story. The thief will get bored and leave you alone. You arrive on your first day of class and your new teacher walks in. Do this to become their favorite student. Find a seat near the teacher, but not too close, because you don't want to be the teacher's pet either. But there's a problem. The teacher doesn't know your name. When they ask the whole class a question, be the first to answer even if you don't know the answer. A teacher always asks the name of the first student to speak. On the other hand, you want to ask them a question too, to show that you're engaged with the subject. Try to make your question a why or a how, and never a basic what is this. But above all, never ask what's the homework, because your classmates will give you a good knuckle sandwich. Lastly, after class, don't forget to do the very first homework assigned. Teachers hate students who are lazy from day one.
The worst torture method of the Middle Ages starts by locking the criminal in a wall without an exit. Unlike being buried alive, you wouldn't die from the lack of air, and every day the person was given just enough food and water to survive for years, prolonging the agony and isolation. On top of that, the criminal was forced to stand upright, unable to sit or rest, their legs swelling from the lack of movement. Many died slowly, completely isolated until the end.
If you're lost on the street and see many kids asking for money, get out of there fast. It's a trick that criminals use to rob you. If you're stupid and sleep with your phone, be careful. If it gets too hot, it'll catch fire and burn down your whole house. If you have leeches sucking on your body, don't remove them. They'll vomit in the wound and you'll die from diseases. If you're on a motorbike and you're about to fall, don't do anything at all. The motorbike will keep going straight because of its speed.
If you're completely lost in the desert and find water, make a fire and boil it. The heat will kill all the bacteria, turning it into clean drinking water. If you're in the school bathroom and you hear a group of bullies picking on a kid, stand on the toilet to hide your legs. If the bullies see you, they'll also badly beat you up. If you've eaten something too spicy, don't drink water as it will just spread the heat. Instead, grab a glass of milk and drink it carefully. If you're driving and a car starts following you, take your next 4 turns to the right. If it's still behind you, head straight to the nearest police station.
If you've been kidnapped by a group of terrorists, hide your designer clothes and luxury items. If they find out you are a rich kid, they will demand a huge ransom from your family. If you live in a dangerous neighborhood, always carry 2 cell phones. If you get robbed, you can give them the fake phone and the thief will look ridiculous. If you are going to sneeze, do not cover your nose. The air in your lungs is so strong that it will break your bones. If you are an idiot and have a lot of tattoos, cover them up before entering a dangerous neighborhood. Criminals will confuse you with an enemy gang member and you will die.
If you insult a crow, it'll remember you and your face and it'll hold a grudge. And because they're highly social animals, they'll also spread the word of your rudeness, even telling it to their own offspring. Also, they'll try to scold you with loud and intense screams while they flap their wings aggressively as punishment. Sometimes other crows will join in, forming a mob. This hate can continue for years, so it's better to not insult it and try to be its friend.
If you're always tired and you're sleepy, eat a lot of meat. Your digestion will force you to stay awake and you'll have infinite energy. If you're dying of thirst and you find dirty water, find bamboo canes. If you filter the water through the hole inside the canes, you'll get clean water. If you come across a bear sleeping, do not make a sound. He'll be hungry and you'll be his breakfast. If you're dying of thirst but you need to pee, quickly go to a doctor. You have a stone in your kidney that will kill you.
Guess which student gets better grades? This is Big. When he arrives in class, he takes out his notebook and starts taking notes while the teacher explains the subject. Big copies word by word what he says. On the other hand, his friend Dan doesn't take notes right away, since he waits for his teacher to finish explaining each topic to take notes in his own words. Several studies confirm that Dan gets better grades, has understood the subject matter better, and is subscribed to BigDanBaby.
The water began to recede quickly, leaving the ocean floor visible. People were confused and then started to realize the massive wave heading toward the shore. It was a giant tsunami caused by an underwater earthquake. As the wave approached, it kept growing taller, reaching up to 30 meters high. In several areas, it tore through the city with overwhelming force, destroying everything in its path. The wave wiped out entire neighborhoods, leaving behind only rubble and devastation. More than 167,000 people lost their lives in this region alone.
If you're going to school, but a superhero is fighting a supervillain, don't get inside the car. The superhero will use your car as a weapon, and you'll be crushed and die. If you're an idiot and you're vegan, never go into the woods. If you get lost, you will have to hunt for survival, and you'll starve to death. If you are stuck in World War III, forget about posting TikTok. The Chinese will hack your phone's location, and they'll kill you. If you don't have drinking water, use your shirt as an emergency filter. Even if the fabric doesn't kill bacteria, you will remove the mud from the water. If you're at a party and your drink is a little salty, do not drink it. It is very likely that someone put drugs in it. If someone is attacking you from behind, try to scratch him. You are sure to get a sample of his DNA in your nail. If someone kidnaps you in a car and they force you to drive, crash your car accidentally. It is very likely they aren't wearing a seatbelt. If you come face to face with a big lion, maintain steady eye contact and walk backwards very slowly.
If you're at the airport and an elderly woman asks you to help carry her suitcase, do not help her. It's a tactic used by drug traffickers to get your fingerprints on the suitcase and blame you if they get caught. If a thief gets into your car by force and makes you drive to a dangerous location, crash the car into a wall. It's better to crash and draw public attention than them doing horrible things to you. If you feel something in your eye and can't get it out, blink fast 10 times and keep your eyes open for 5 seconds. You'll start crying and they'll clean themselves. If you have a date but your shirt is wrinkled, hang your shirt in the bathroom while you shower with the water as hot as possible. The steam will remove all the wrinkles. In 2010, a boy ate a live slug as part of a dare with his friends. The next day, he began to feel dizzy, started vomiting, and felt a very strange pain in his leg. Doctors discovered that he had been infected by an unusual parasite, but they didn't give him any treatment. And according to them, his body would expel it naturally. But the parasite larva traveled into the boy's brain through his bloodstream, causing him to fall into a coma that lasted more than 400 days. When he finally woke up, he had suffered severe brain damage and could only control his eyelids and breathing. The boy spent the next 8 years completely paralyzed until he passed away from a respiratory problem in 2018. If you're at the gym and a stranger challenges you to a weightlifting competition, don't try it. They're recording a video for YouTube and you'll look ridiculous. If you're sleeping in a hotel and hear strange noises, place a glass cup on the door handle before going to sleep. If someone tries to open the door, the glass will break and you'll wake up instantly. If you're getting attacked by a great white shark, don't punch it in the nose. Your punch will be too weak. Instead, try to push its nose downwards. If you're in a hot air balloon and it starts dropping too low, throw out as much weight as you can and aim for a safe landing spot.
If you come across a wolf, shout at it and try to fight it. Wolves only attack while in packs, and if you hit it, it will get scared. If you are very sick, get up and go play some sport. If you start sweating a lot, you'll expel the virus from your body. If your father calls you on the phone, but he only wants to ask you for money, turn on airplane mode. He'll think you don't have coverage and will stop calling you. If you're lost on a completely deserted island, but you're an idiot and don't know how to make a fire, catch some raw fish and make sushi. First, remove all the bacteria and then eat it very carefully.
If you're at the mall and someone drops money in front of you, don't pick it up. It might be someone recording an honesty test and you'll look ridiculous. If you're walking and see a grenade on the ground, don't try to throw it away. It might explode as soon as you pick it up. Instead, run away fast and hide, blocking your ears. If you're lost in the jungle and a monkey steals your stuff, don't try to fight it. Monkeys are extremely strong and it'll beat you up. Instead, try to trade your things for a banana. If you find a gas station with extremely low prices, don't stop to get gas. They've mixed it with oil to make it cheaper.
In 2009, a man fell behind the refrigerators at the supermarket where he worked. He was completely trapped, but his cries for help were drowned out by the noise from the freezers. Days, weeks, even months went by with no word from him. It wasn't until 10 years later, when some workers were renovating the now abandoned supermarket, that they moved the refrigerators and found the man's bones, alongside scratch marks on the walls with traces of fingernails and blood. A dog broke free from his handler and quickly ran toward the enemy who was firing at them. Once he found where the machine gun was hiding, the dog jumped inside and started attacking the soldiers, biting and clawing at them aggressively. The enemy started panicking and gave up. However, one soldier tried to escape by running, but the dog bit him in the throat and dragged him back. The dog was injured during the fight, but he didn't stop until his fellow soldiers were safe. In the end, he was awarded several medals for his incredible bravery.
Ninjas place the sole of one foot on top of their hand with the palm facing down, and with the next step, the other foot does the same. This allows their feet to rest a little on top of the hands without touching the ground. That keeps their weight distributed, which means they can walk over branches without snapping them. Although it was slow, it allowed them to move silently toward their target, granting them the surprise element.
3 scams to avoid if you travel to another country. In Paris, France, never accept a bracelet that's free. Once you have it on your wrist, the scammer will tighten the bracelet very hard and ask you for a lot of money for it. But if you're in Thailand, never agree to play a game of Connect 4. An innocent child will ask to play Connect 4 for money. Even if it seems easy, these kids are professional Connect 4 masters and they will crush you. But the taxi scam is found all over the world. A taxi meter normally measures the distance traveled and the time spent driving to calculate a price. But there's a button to charge more money during the night or on weekends. Many taxi drivers take advantage of this button to scam clueless tourists during the day.